Today is Saturday, March 8, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 48, Week 2.
Week 2. I am anxious to hear what everybody had to say about this episode. We thought it was a significant improvement over the premiere. I'm just curious what other folks are thinking too.
All right.
Anything we need to cover before we get started?
No, not that I'm aware.
How many did we have checking in this week? 20. All right, let's get busy. First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling. Oh, my Lanta. I can't say that I'm surprised that the weak link green team got sent to tribal again, but what an episode. I honestly loved it better than the premiere, so I'm going to let out a great big and I cannot believe my eyes. Maybe now we could somewhat understand why the editors and probes didn't show us Big Game of Kevin, the injury in the premiere, because it had nothing to do with this major blind side. And I gotta say, I am sad and I'm shocked. I thought Kevin had a lot to offer. He was a strategist, a gamer. If he made it to the merge, I could have seen him win. He was solid in the challenges, well, good at puzzles. Now, he didn't do good in this challenge with Cedric, which led to them getting blown out bad. But I really am disappointed. It would have been so great if he could have kept those guys, my homeboy Justin and Cedric, to get rid of Cy with the idol. Oh, well, but it was great. There was a great episode, a great Survivor moment, even though I'm sad. I'm not digging Cy right now. I think she's obnoxious, loud, annoying, full of herself. Yeah, I initially thought she reminded me of Marianne, and I don't know, I'm somewhat thinking she reminded me of that Michaela from Millennials Gen X Game Changers, but then again, she survived the vote, or partially thanks to her idol, and Cedric and Justin flipping. I did not see that coming at all. And honestly, I'm glad it wasn't Mary. I really like Mary, so I think she got a big hill to climb, and that jury didn't help her at all when she lost her vote. But let me get into the other team super quick. So the dominant purple team with Superman Joe, but I'm not big on him strategically, even though that guy is a beast in challenges. But really, though, you got to give credit where it's due. Eva outdid him, I thought, in that basketball portion of the challenge, although he scored the winning hoop to seal immunity there. I'm not digging Joe. I like that Shahin. I think he's strategizing the right way. He didn't like Thomas's pitch about not using her be weird, this and that. Thomas he's lucky that he's on a dominant tribe, and I think Sarah's lucky too in a way. Well, that team is too good right now. And then that goofy orange team. Oh, I'm hoping that team loses because I can't stand David. Even though he's done great in challenges. But I'm hoping that even though he has Kyle, Camelia, and Chrissy, I'm hoping that maybe Camelia will see the light and they turn the table on David. Because I really like Charity. I know she's been on the outs, her and Mitch. And this is a great episode for Mitch. A little bit of his story with the tough speech. And I gotta check out any extra clips, guys, and what Kevin had to say if he had surgery or if he saw it coming, because clearly he was blindsided by his boys. All right, guys, take care. Woo.
Whoa. Well, in Kevin's interviews, I don't know how to reconcile him exactly because, yeah, he did look shocked, but also he was in an extreme amount of pain. And he said he wasn't able to sleep because of his shoulder and the pain. And he said they were giving him ibuprofen for the pain, but he couldn't keep it down. He kept throwing it up. So he had eaten nothing through those 5 days, and he was having trouble keeping water down. So he was in a world of hurt. He didn't know when his time exactly was going to be, but he he didn't see himself making it to the end.
I am surprised they didn't show us any of that. So that wouldn't surprise me that they would vote him off knowing all that he's sick.
Right.
He's not.
He said when he got back from the Sweat versus Savvy challenge and he won the pot and the machete and the flint, he said they were peppering him with lots of questions about his shoulder, and it made him real self-conscious about it because he didn't want to be the guy that was injured, that was going to be medevaced, and so he started hiding how much he was hurting. He said he was hurting so much he was just sleeping down on the beach crying at night because he was in so much pain. And in that last challenge, he knocked his shoulder loose and put it back in. He said that's why he did that really awful dive at the end of extreme belly flop, because he was thinking, oh, I'm going to dolphin dive. I'm going to do this. And he's like, wait a second. It all happened really quick. I can't do that because I've already knocked my shoulder out and put it back in once. So he just belly flopped. He ate it.
Okay.
Because he didn't want to hurt his shoulder again. But he said that he figured it was either this tribal council or the next one because he was very confident that they were going back again because of how awful they were in the challenges. When it turned out that he was their big guy, their strong guy, their fast guy, and he wrecked his shoulder pulling on that net trying to get under it in the marooning challenge, that he was just in a bad way, and it's like all his dreams evaporated at that point. He was trying to come up with something, and he thought, well, let me just see if I can knock her idol out this time. So that's why he soft played it to Cedric, but of course Cedric wasn't even up for that completely, at least in the end, and certainly Justin wasn't. And he said he could see when he got back from the Sweat versus Savvy thing, he had been brought in as the bottom person in a 4-person alliance. He didn't have a lot of agency in that alliance. It was enough so that Steph went out first. But all those things were lining up. Anyway, he said he swung for the fence and tried to see if he could at least disarm Say. And that was his pitch to him. Don't you at least want an idol yourself? You don't have to vote her out. I understand if you want to protect her. But they weren't having any of that. And he was hurt really bad. So I think that's probably more why they didn't show those things, but I'm with you. We would have enjoyed the drama of seeing it, even though it would have spoiled the surprise of him being blindsided potentially. They love blindsiding the audience just as much as there's a blind. Sure. It's because it's TV moments that's the ultimate thing that they're driving for. So,
but they certainly did a good job of editing all that out.
Yeah. They made it fit the narrative they wanted, and right. It's yet another great example of the power of the edit and how it can mislead you. So there's I got a couple links to the exit interviews, a couple of the exit interviews, and then a couple of deleted scenes in there. It wasn't a whole lot beyond that.
And those are always in the show notes for each episode. Down at the bottom, you can click right on it from the webpage and go right to the different interviews and everything Stacy's posted there. That's even how I go do it.
Yeah. Well, you do it to help us check to make sure that it's all there.
I do, but even if I'm going to go watch something, the extra video or something, that's the easiest way to get there. Is just go to our website and click on it.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. My feedback for episode 1 was I thought that it was just okay, but I gotta say, my feedback for episode 2 is much better. I thought it was a great episode. And like you guys, I agree, they packed a lot more into this hour and a half than they did in the 2-hour premiere. We got to see a lot more tribe time. And this episode had a lot of funny moments too, some of them being unintentional, like Thomas getting speared in the eye, which I'm not sure if I'm the only one that laughed at that. I think it was one of those shocking laughs just because it was so shocking and just surprising. But anyway, I'm glad that Thomas is okay and not seriously hurt despite the fact he's got a shiner now. So now that we've seen the tribes playing the game a little bit and we've seen the tribe dynamics, who's playing the best? Well, it's hard not to say, even though I'm not a fan. She's definitely running the show. She's getting what she wants. She's probably as close to a villain as we can get in the new era, and she's making for some interesting TV. I think my USB Shahin is playing a good game, and I think that Thomas and Camilla are also playing really well and showing good strategic chops, so those are some of the players that I think are likely playing the best. So who's in jeopardy for next week? Well, for Logie, I think that Star is still in trouble, but it's hard to predict how tribe lines will be drawn when they haven't had to actually go to tribal council yet. We know that Thomas is showing himself to be a very strategic player, and I have no doubt that he could use Star's idol against her or with her, depending on the desired outcome that he wants. So maybe Star is vulnerable, but maybe it could be somebody else. Charity was my guess for vote off this week, and I think if Siva goes to tribal council, I think that still stands. I think in this early part of the game that loyalty matters a lot, and even though she might be better at challenges than Chrissy, I think she would likely be the player to go home for that tribe. For Vula, I think Mary is still likely the person most vulnerable. I don't really see her and Say being able to work together in a vote. But if Say can work with someone like Mary if it betters her game, that would be a very impressive thing, but I don't see that happening. My prediction for next week is Vula loses once again, and Say, valuing loyalty above all else, works with Justin and Cedric and finally gets out Mary. I know a lot of us aren't a fan of small tribes, and I gotta say, it's kind of insane that in the second episode, we had somebody go home with only 2 votes. Obviously, because Mary didn't have a vote, but I think we should get back to just having 2 tribes. I don't like these small tribes, even though I know Jeff is a big fan. But anyway, that's it for my feedback this week, and I look forward to everyone else's thoughts. You guys just take care.
Oh, thanks, Robert. Good job.
No, actually, Robert, Kevin did get 3 votes. Jeff didn't read the last one, but he did get 3 votes.
I think he was just saying 2 was enough to do it, and that is disappointing.
That is exactly what, yes, Jeff said too, so. But, I was going to say something else. What was it? Oh, I think if Say could work with Mary, the team would be stronger with Mary over Cedric right now.
Yes.
I mean, she was awesome.
I don't doubt that Say sees it that way, too.
Yeah, I don't doubt that either.
There hasn't been anything that Cedric has added value to in the course of a challenge, I don't think.
Well,
theirs is more of an emotional bond.
Did Kevin say anything about, did he take the blame for not being able to get over?
No, he said Cedric was awful.
Even with his bad shoulder,
yeah.
he was better than
He said
Cedric.
he could push on it. He just couldn't get... Every time Cedric would push, he would fall backwards. And you needed to have some push tension on the buoy with those 2 oars to keep it from falling.
Well, you would...
He just couldn't get it. And Kevin said, Jeff called us abysmal, and that's exactly what it was. It was spot on. He said they fell like 75 times. I'm sure they didn't fall that many times, but
I don't know.
He was frustrated by it all.
Oh, well, Cedric's getting the blame anyway, so, okay.
Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor friends. I really enjoyed this episode because we got to learn more about many of these players. I'm still having trouble finding the 1 or 2 people I really want to cheer for, but I'm enjoying the cast overall. The humble traits scene with Siva was hilarious, and it shows how much we benefit from the 90-minute episodes. As for my humble trait, I have a whole list, but none are as cool as Stacy's horns. Okay. I'll say my scrawny leg is the weirdest because my left calf is about half the size of my right. Oh, neat. And nobody can figure out why. Maybe Charity's haggard left toes would pair nicely with my left leg. That's great. I was cracking up hearing about 4 nipples, weird belly buttons, and callous warts. It's refreshing to remember we are all weird in our own way. David seems to be shaping up to be our comic relief this season, but there's no way he'll be a great player strategically. Oh, there's an extra scene of him. They were so excited to get the fishing gear, and he's telling them about what an excellent spearfisher he is, and going on and on and on, and he goes out and completely whiffs it. Nothing. Comes back with nothing. But he assures them that he'll have fish for them tomorrow. So they are, even in the extra deleted
It's the wrong
clips,
time of day.
they're doing him dirty. Or I guess he probably just does it to himself. You brag that much and then you fail to deliver over and over again. I love the Kyle and Camilla combo, and it will be interesting to see if they stay loyal to that alliance or flip to work with Mitch and Charity. I like that. As far as Loggy, I've been waiting for Star to show up, and she's finally trying at least. Her Beware advantage has spawned some chaos, and since they may keep winning challenges for quite a while, I can see this tribe imploding once they actually go to tribal. I can also see this tribe as being one of the goofy ones that'll throw the challenge just so they can go. They'll get so anxious to play. Shahin is already starting to see Thomas as a threat, and I found it interesting that we also saw Shahin kiss Star's hand after they won the challenge. I can possibly see 3 separate pairs in the 6, all trying to get to the top since the tribe is stacked with such strong players. Ironically, Star could eventually have a lot of power with an idol if she doesn't get fooled. In that case, Eva could be in trouble. It looks like the California Girls Alliance might not even stay intact to their first tribal. I think it's going to be a blast to watch no matter what happens. That leaves our disaster tribe, Vula. Cedric drove me nuts during the challenge, and I'm not even into the challenges at all. Amazingly, he is in the power position with Say now. Say should have been gone immediately, but I have to give her props for somehow wrangling all of these guys. I'm worried my USB Justin may end up in a bad spot now that he got rid of Kevin because Cedric and Say are not splitting up. I'm hoping for a tribe swap ASAP. This group has almost no chance of winning anything at this point, so I can see them ending up decimated like the Lulu tribe in season 45. Absolutely. It's possible that someone could squeak through and land in a good spot at the merge, but it's looking dim for my pizza guy. I really like Mary too, so I'm curious to see what could happen between her and Say. It's been a strange journey for this group so far. With that said, I'm at a loss for next week. I would love to see another tribe go to tribal council, so fingers crossed for a Survivor God miracle. Either way, I can't wait to hear from the rest of the fans. Thanks for everything, Joanna Stacy. As always, you're the best. Thank you, Tara. You did great. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanna Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu. I really enjoyed the episode yesterday. I felt like it was really a deeper dive into the relationships between the players and what kind of players they are. We saw different sides of people. I mean, especially Thomas, who appeared to be a little evil. Shahim's reaction to him was very telling. Okay, I'll be bad, but I won't be that bad. I actually thought Thomas's idea of could we just hide the key? I thought it was kind of brilliant. I don't know if I would have had the same reactions as Shahim. I might have gone along with it. I like how Joe remains very steadfastly loyal, and I see Shahim is kind of more like Joe than he is like Thomas. I did not understand at all why Star got so offended by Ava. It's funny because when you're watching the show and you're not there and you're not in the high fidelity of they're not eating, they're not sleeping, they're all really hyped up because they're in this incredibly challenging game. But I really found Eva's comment of maybe you should sit out was kind of off the cuff, and I felt like Star actually had the crazy overreaction of okay, she's got to go. But that's kind of how the cookie crumbles in Survivor. On the Rula team, I actually thought last week Justin's reaction to the vote out was perhaps that maybe he too had voted for Sai and that his face was, uh-oh, that didn't work. But now I see that, no, he hadn't. I like Mary very much, and I really hope she sticks around for a while. I loved Kevin, and I didn't see it coming at all that he was going to get voted out. And Sai stopped rubbing me the wrong way. I actually started to really respect her gameplay, watching that she's really smart, she's really aggressive, she's playing really hard, and she's playing harder than many people, and maybe it was just very astute of her to form a tight alliance right away, get the idol. Yes, she's abrasive and she's loud, but maybe those are strengths, not weaknesses. I was more amazed that Cedric went against everybody else. But I thought it was interesting that Justin was, Survivor is like improv. Say yes and. Don't say no to anything. Just go along with it and add to the plan. So yes, I'm very happy that they saved Mary. I'm really sad that they got rid of Kevin because, in all due respect, Kevin was not playing as hard and aggressively as Sai. He just had a plan, and people turned on him. Now, on the Siva tribe, I love Charity. I did not really too much of a read on Chrissy. This tribe, beyond Camilla, who can solve a puzzle in about 3.5 seconds, Mitch, who's such a sweetheart. He is a player, and he's so sweet. Mitch's interaction with Jeff. Yesterday, I was speaking briefly to somebody with a speech impediment who really couldn't get the words out, and I knew I just had to sit and be patient and go, nod my head and go, give them time. They'll get to where they need to go. So Mitch is teaching all of us a lot. I'm really sad that Kevin left. I think that was a mistake. I'm interested to see what happens next. Yesterday, I turned 58, and I celebrated with a 76-mile bike ride along the North Shore of Oahu, which was a great way to celebrate. And I hope you guys all have a great Saturday, and I'm glad I got this in on time. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy. Bye.
Awesome. Happy belated birthday.
Yes. We hope it was awesome. Sounds like it. That's quite the ride.
Next up, we got a call from Sammy.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and hello to all the beautiful Survivor fans. This is Sammy in the Midwest, longtime listener, first-time caller. By long-time listener, I mean I have only been listening for a few months, but I have been really enjoying your robust back catalog as I have binged our favorite show for the very first time,
Nice.
Starting in December or so. I knew I had to do JSFL this season as the first season of Survivor airing live, as I am a fan. And I even got some friends of mine to do it too. Aussie Hater, Propes for Prez, and Tuppence. And they're all beating me currently. C'est la vie. Well, I wanted to share some thoughts about my USB pick, Mitch. As a stutterer myself, I really appreciated the conversation that they put in the edit of Mitch and Jeff before that one challenge, talking about if it's good to finish what Mitch is saying or to let him get it out. I can confirm that sometimes you want people to help you out and finish what you're saying, but sometimes you want them to just let you get to the end of it. It really is a minute social thing, one of the many little nuances of the social game that one has to play in Survivor. So I think it fits well into the tapestry of this strategic game. And yeah, there's no real one-size-fits-all approach to it. I think it's interesting how there are some scenes where we have Mitch not struggling with his words at all, seemingly, but then other scenes where he seems to be tripping over nearly every syllable. That's also how my experience with stuttering tends to be, and I often feel like there is a tendency for other people to maybe impose on that when you're stuttering, it's a reflection of being nervous, or maybe you'd stutter if you're lying or something like that. And of course it's different for every person, but I find that is kind of true, but ultimately not really. I could tell that Mitch was maybe stuttering a little bit more when the cameras were on him for the first time in episode 1, and in some scenes since then, in this episode, with a few exceptions, he seemed to be getting through his sentences a bit more smoothly, which seems accurate to me. But of course, the editing can play a large role in choosing what instances of stuttering they want to cut out or include. So I'm interested to see how this plays out and how the whole season plays out. I'm really excited to be watching along with you all. Be well, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Sammy.
Welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate you sharing your experience with us there, too. That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome to see how, Survivor really does affect the people on there, affect so many people. It's a ripple effect out into the world.
Yeah, another great reason for doing the listener feedback show. We get to hear that from the other super fans.
Yes.
Good stuff. Next up, we got an email from Becca in South Carolina.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. We really enjoyed the episode. It was great to see Mitch get to shine, and painful to see Cedric's performance at that challenge. We had Say as our vote out, and I think we probably just keep picking her until she's gone.
I totally get that.
I'm going to say that my humble trait is being 4'10" and a half. Nothing keeps you humble like trying to get a ranch dip packet from the top shelf at the grocery store and having the whole box fall on your head.
That'll do it.
I can relate. Carolyn's, is it Carolyn or Caroline's humble trait is this callus that has been on her hand for quite some time, just like Kyle. Luckily for the rest of my family, I'm really pushing the feedback deadline and running out of time to list their humble traits. Take care.
Say
All right, thanks, Becca. Yeah, I'm taller than the 4'10" and a half, but
Joanne always does the half too.
No, it used to be 3/4.
Oh, 3/4. Gotcha.
I'm 5'4" and a half now.
Yeah.
I used to be 5'4" and 3/4.
Gotcha.
But I always just said 5'5" because it was easier.
Yeah. So that you
But
got
now-
that to look forward to, Becca. You're going to get shorter.
You see this nice elbow?
Uh-huh.
It could just fit right there perfectly.
Thanks, Becca. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. It's great to hear your ancient voices again. I'm not crazy about the Beware Advantage gimmick. Keeping a hidden idol secret is what we would most love to see in this game. And the way it's set up now, that's impossible to do. Every time a Beware Advantage pops up, and I'll never play the game, I think, leave it. Don't touch it. Just put it back. And I'm wondering if the survivors ever do that and production just decides to keep it a secret. Speaking of the Beware Advantage, last season I chose not to be in the side challenge, and I'm really glad I did because I didn't finish the season. Sometimes I need to take a break, and that's what makes it great, being back here with y'all on Survivor. I liked the sunset walk to Tribal Council. It was nice. It wasn't in the dark. And I really do like the way they position our heroes. Like they're bigger than life, just not bigger than Jeff. And another thing about that is they do it in silence. Sometimes going without words helps. It's like what we learned from the Jeff Probst TV show. Sometimes the program is better when nobody's talking. I've noticed in recent seasons that the players wear subtle hues of their tribe color, and it's been real nice. But this time at Tribal Council, the color scheme of the wardrobe really stood out, and the tribe looked like a clump of leprechauns. I guess St. Patrick's Day came a little early this year. Have a great week, everybody.
All right, welcome back, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. You probably missed it because you didn't enjoy last season that much, but it was Andy, I think, who found the advantage and left it. He's like, nah, I'm not going to take it. So yeah, that does happen occasionally. Thanks, Chris. Next up, we got a call from Kyle.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey and all the Survivor fans at home. This is Kyle from Calgary, Canada, calling with some long overdue feedback. Now, I echo your statement that this episode was better than the premiere. For me, the premiere felt more like a janky game show hosted by Jeff Probst, not unlike a Price is Right, where they're calling people down and telling them what they can expect in their Survivor adventure. Now, I also have to wonder, are they hurting for contestants? Why do they keep on saying, like, these are the people that decided to come off the couch? Like, there isn't 100,000 people that would be willing to do that in a heartbeat. I don't understand it. I don't think I'll ever understand it, but you know what? People, get off that couch because I'm afraid that they're not going to have enough people for the next few seasons. Secondly, I had to laugh at the green team's beach. So they use the same beaches every single season, and season 47 just finished up. So what happened at that beach to leave all of those flies for the green team? I can't recall who was even on that beach last season. But did they leave a bunch of moldy coconuts? Maybe they didn't take care of their waste properly. I don't know. I just think it's sort of funny because they probably had some inhabitants in there a week before the green team even took over it. So what's going on there? What are they leaving behind? That's not so good. Lastly, I want to share a bit of insider knowledge for next week. And I know we don't do spoilers here, but just go with me on this one. So first week, a gal by the name of Stephanie was voted off. Now, you don't know this, but my wife's name is Stephanie. Second week, Kevin got voted off, and my brother's name is Kevin. So that leads me to believe that Of course, this next week, Cedric is going home. That guy is awful. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he's so bad at challenges, but let's be honest, he's not long for this game. Now, if you thought I was going to say Kyle, you got to be crazy. That guy is awesome. He has found an idol. He's playing the game. He's going to be in this game a long time. So no worries there. Kyle's in. Cedric's out. You can count on it. Anyway, thanks for all you do. I really appreciate the podcast. I've been listening along to the feedback and the recap episodes every single week, and it's highlighted my week. So thanks, everyone. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
Phew.
What?
Thank goodness. Kyle's my USB.
Yeah, that was good. Thanks, Kyle. You really pulled that one off well. Next up, got an email from Mary in Maryland. It's so much fun to be back in the routine of watching Survivor each week, getting to hear from you all, and listening to all the Survivor podcasts during the week. I was sorry to see Kevin go so early. He was pleasant and fun to watch. Hearing his post-game interview, it sounds like he was pretty injured, suffering from a lack of food and sleep, and had a tough road to recovery after the game. I knew my USB Mary would make it through somehow. Say remains very abrasive and seems difficult to live and play with. I'm interested in her bond with Cedric. They seem like very different people, yet they are building a closeness and loyalty with each other. We'll see how long that lasts. I agreed with Joanne and Stacy that Vula will continue to lose, and it will be between Justin or Cedric to go next time. They may vote out Cedric due to poor challenge performance, or say may be loyal to him and vote out Justin, knowing that a tribe shuffle is coming soon, and loyalty will be more important than challenge performance once they're split up. Moving on to the Loggy tribe, I like Star, but not sure why she ended up telling everyone on the tribe about her beware advantage. Thomas is a great liar and delightfully devious. I wonder if he really will keep the advantage he got on the journey to himself, or if he will be compelled to blab, as Survivor players nearly always do. I love how Shahin immediately clocked Thomas's deviousness and now is a bit wary of him. Terrific challenge performance by Eva. I loved seeing her determination and getting so many buoys in. And finally, Siva. Great puzzle solving by Camilla. I enjoyed seeing her figure that out. I like her and Kyle together, and I think their bond is much stronger than Kyle and David. I don't believe David will be consequential in the game. It's not stacking up that way, is it? I enjoyed seeing Mitch and Charity's relationship. Kudos to Mitch as well for the great challenge performance. Another great week of Survivor. I'll be looking forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. Thanks, Mary. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Hello, this is Pat again from Missouri, except this time I'm actually home sitting on my couch. Got to actually watch Survivor on a big screen TV, so that was nice. Gotta say, I really liked this episode, but then there was parts of it that I really didn't like. The part I loved was Mitch. He was amazing. I love how he helped Jeff understand what he should do when talking to him or other people like him. But I just love the guy. He dominated the challenge. He just scored and scored and scored, which was amazing. I mean, who saw that coming? But then he's funny. He's just so fun. And then my girl, Charity, and her wanky toe. Oh, my gosh, that poor girl. How does she live like that? I can't even imagine. But something I've always wondered, the white polish they put on their nails, what kind is that? Is this like some kind of heavy-duty house paint? Because it seems like it never comes off. I don't understand that. But then, Joanne, you had talked about David being insecure. I agree completely. I think he is very, very insecure with himself and has to try to be over the top to compensate for it. I really see him just going out of his way to, I don't know, maybe hide his insecurity. But then the thing I didn't like about this episode, I just don't like her. And her saying how she has no filter, to me that's just an excuse to be rude. Mm-hmm. And she just seems rude to everybody. She just, I don't know, I don't care for her. I was really hoping she would go this time. Hopefully now that she doesn't have an idol, she will get off the island. I hope, because I just really do not like her. And I hated to see Kevin go. I understand it with his shoulder. and stuff. But yeah, I hated to see him go. I seem to like him. And I really like everybody else, I think, on the tribes, except Say. So I don't know. It was a good episode. Wasn't great. It was just an episode. Nobody's really jumping out at me this season except for Mitch. I really, really like him. So that's all I got. You guys have a good week, and we will talk to you next time.
Fantastic. Thanks, Pat.
All right. And thanks for commenting on that. I wondered if anybody else agreed.
Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey everyone, this is Drew. I did not even realize until 2 days after the listener feedback so that mine wasn't included. And then I realized for the time change, I think I called an hour past the deadline instead of an hour ahead of the deadline.
Yes,
Anyway, I am here. I have been watching, and actually we watched the episode last night, so we're only a day behind. It's exciting. Yeah, I think I like the second episode a little bit better. Mitch is definitely the winner of the week. I'm liking him. I think that anytime Jeff goes into talk show / therapist mode, it's really obnoxious. In fact, even at tribal council, he's like, I'm a therapist. I'm a terrible therapist. And I was like, yeah, you really are, Jeff. If I'm going to pick a loser of the week, it's Say. And in fact, the only thing I remember from my feedback last week that I wanted to repeat was about Say, because when she got the immunity idol, she was invoking, girl power, her ancestry and stuff. But Say, who actually solved the clue? Cedric. So it's just kind of a little bit of an irony there that probably wasn't even realized. But I mean, good for her. She knew how to use the resources she had available, I guess. But I just think that she is burning bridges before they're even being built. It's really interesting to see how she's cutting off people who are about to go home anyway, except I guess in the case of Mary. But then that's just a bad look. USB Shahin is looking good. And you may recall, you probably don't, but I did indicate in my Javik that I thought I might make Say my USB. So I'm glad I veered away from that because, I think she'll go pretty far at this point. I picked her to go this week, but I think by now she's kind of in at least till the merge, or right before. But anyway, good episode. The kids have been enjoying it. I think Thomas is really obnoxious, and I think Shahin has great instincts to be on to that, and just kind of the lengths he'll go to, the deviousness. And I like a mustache if it's a good mustache. Bro, it's not a good mustache. It's not. Shahin, on the other hand, wearing that beard very nicely. At this point, I'm rambling, but I'm definitely getting this in on Friday, so I get the deadline. And yeah, everyone have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah.
Yes, we didn't even see it till...
No, we were recording when you sent that in.
We were almost done recording by the time that came in. Yeah. Sometimes we actually get started pretty early if people got in, unlike today, which it's already 4 o'clock here, but we couldn't record with the noise.
Thanks, Drew. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and the beginning of this episode was great. It was so much fun to see all the tribe time and learn more about the dynamics on purple and orange because they're probably not going to tribal council for a while. Let's be honest with ourselves. And so it was just good to learn about what's going on over there. I like the humble traits segment. That was fun. And also just kind of learn that, they're a big cohesive group, but it is that 4, and then Mitch and Charity are on the outs. But I think Charity is still gone before Mitch is, if they lose, because that 4 seems pretty solid, especially Kyle and Camilla, which this was another great episode for those two. Those two are killing it this season. Kyle with the idol and just their bond is really showing. So I think that's going to be a pretty powerful duo in this season come merge time. And then over on Purple Tribe, I didn't love that Star found the Beware advantage, but I liked how pretty much everybody came together and was, what do we do about this? But I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a situation like last season with Rome finding the idol on that tribe and then just Teeny completely folding and being, all right, I guess we gotta pander to this guy now and sending Asia out. I hope that's not the fate of Eva on this tribe because they're all too scared about the freaking idol. Come on, man. I hope that's not the case, but I don't think it will. I think this tribe is a better caliber of players than that red tribe was last season. I think they're going to play some mind games with Star here and trick quicker a little bit. I think in the trailer for next week, it's meant to make us believe that Thomas and Bianca are going to turn on the bigger group, but I think really they're just going to further mess with Star here, and Thomas is going to get into her head of making her, yeah, no, you're safe, you're solid, we got you, right? To make her feel like she's in the power position to set her up for a blindside. That's what I'm assuming, because from the deviousness he was showing in this episode, I find it hard to believe that he would just go, all right, I guess we'll work with her, I don't know, to being like, hey, what if we just lost the clue to being, point. Yeah, all right, I guess I'll pander to her needs, whatever. He doesn't seem like that kind of a player. And I thought it was fascinating how Joe wants to play this loyal game. He's just stuck in between all these alliances. And I think once he gets past that first initial betrayal of somebody, he's going to have the headspace to be like, all right, this is how you play Survivor. I find that all very fascinating. And then we get to the Green Tribe, and they're just a mess. They're terrible. And Say is so obnoxious. And it made me so sad, this tribal council, because Kevin hurts his shoulder first day. Then he's just playing catch up from there because he goes on the journey, and so he misses out on initial bonding. And then he's just forced into this alliance. And now in this episode, he's, all right, time to do something. And it just blows up in his face. I felt so bad. I mean, I like that we saw more of Cedric and Justin, like where their heads are at. I'm really rooting for Mary now. This poor girl just keeps getting blindsided at these tribals. After the challenge, everything was downhill. There was some hope that Say was going to go home like I had in my picks. And then it was just, that made me sad. But yeah, that's all I got. I will see you all next time.
All right. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we've got an email from Thomas in Toronto.
Hi, everyone. So far, this season is actually pretty good. However, having someone with my name and people mentioning it a lot sometimes weirds me out, and I'm wondering if someone is calling me. So far, the overall content on this season seems to be better as well, with more things happening and not a lot of tribes sitting around with nothing actually happening, talking about things that don't have to do with the game of Survivor. I've seen that people have mentioned about the sound mixing being off this season, and I've read somewhere that people suspect that it's been mixed for 5.1 surround sound and that it doesn't always translate well for some TVs. All right, thanks, Thomas, and thanks for the insight.
Yep. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, John Stacey and Thomas Five fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. We are prepping for what was a cyclone, now down to a tropical low. So hopefully everyone in southeast Queensland is safe. I think a couple of us are from around there. So hopefully everyone's doing well. We're prepped and ready to go. I want to get this in before I possibly lose power and internet, because where we live, we need Wi-Fi calling. Otherwise, we don't get any calls to and from. Yesterday's episode was really good. Enjoyed it, much better than episode 1. What I was happy to see is I got to see a little bit more of Siva tribe, which I thought was a little bit lacking. I didn't get a very good impression of Charity, but this one was a little bit better. Same with Chrissy too, so it was quite nice. Obviously the spotlight would have been more on Lagi and Vulu. I thought Eva, it's been mentioned before, but her being ASD doesn't really help her in that instance where she isn't able to gauge what's actually happening in the room. So one thing that I was surprised about though is that Star was noted as the weak one. Where Star is late 20s and a former semi-professional basketballer. So surely she would have some sort of physical agency, but there was no buy-in. I don't know if the rest of the tribe also perceive her as weak physically, because I don't, unless something's happened, if she's got an injury carried through. But I don't think they're allowed to do that, so I'm not sure. But yeah, Lagi's a very interesting tribe, because I think Thomas has shown something where Shahin is, and props to Shahin. Shahin is playing a really good game, and I've actually had chats with him on Instagram. He and I have had a bit of a rapport now, and we added each other, and we've had a bit of a to and fro, which is really cool. And yeah, he's just a really enigmatic figure for me, and the fact that he was able to key on to what Thomas was thinking shows a really high level of perception. I wonder if this is a type of player where if he makes it to the merge, And whatever happens thereafter, is it the case where they have to have this person in season 50, irrespective of what happens? Just like what they did from season 19 to 20 with Russell, where this guy was just so impactful, if you will, on the game that he had to be in the next season. But I think the real story was in Vula. I think Cedric was weak. I think pre-Jabik I had the same views of him. I thought Kevin was weak too as soon as I saw him. And she has this faux agency, if you will. I don't think if she makes it to the merge that she'll last very long. I think that tribe is just doomed. And it just speaks to, again, the product is a really good product now. They've built on it for like the last, I think 2 seasons have been nice. The last season was the pinnacle, the cherry on top. But they really need to get this tribe equality right, because we've had it a few too many times in the 40s. Thanks for what you do, and stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Shaheen. That's cool that you're able to connect with Shaheen. Good stuff. Next up, we got a call from Johnny.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's Johnny calling from Wisconsin. I definitely think Cedric is starting to disappoint me a little more as my USB. You guys are talking about him and how he just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of great qualities in a player right now. And I mean, I looked at him through one lens and thinking, yeah, he did fine with conversations. He's talking to stuff with Say, and everybody wants to include him in plans. But yeah, he might be more of a dog situation and just a little too boring to garner any final votes, even if he did make final 3. I was hoping for more of a Gabler, but instead we're getting kind of a wet blanket player. Oh, I could decide just to pick a different player for 10 points instead of 5, so at least there's that if he makes it. Yeah, I thought the episode was really entertaining also, especially the Shahin and Thomas scene. Imagine if Shahin just like buried the guide to Star's Idol or whatever. If he made that choice, Thomas would have burned him immediately. Man, Thomas is just causing havoc like a class comedian out there, convincing everyone to do something stupid that will get you in trouble. That's one of his tactics he's using out there. Yeah, it's a very big distinction between a comedian and a clown, right? Class clown's the kind of kid that would just streak down the football field at halftime. The comedian's the one who convinced him it was a good idea. Right, there's the distinction. So he doesn't want to be the person necessarily doing the wild stuff. He just wants to be whispering people's ears all the time. So that's pretty entertaining. As for who's in danger, I really do think Mary is going home next. Yeah, maybe Say is doing some more like Rome-like babysitting where she's just going to follow Mary around and make sure she doesn't get anything. That's probably what the scenes from our next episode's pointing to. I can't be sure, but that's kind of my speculation. Oh, and Jeremiah, he noticed the tribe color clothing thing. I guess it's been a thing for quite some time, even before the new era. There was a Reddit post out there with a picture of 2 original tribes from Survivor Samoa, and almost everybody in the picture was either purple or yellow, a couple of exceptions, but it did seem like this has been a thing even before 41. I don't remember when I first noticed it. It probably wasn't until like 42, 43 maybe, and I started like, hey, wait a minute, why are all these players wearing blue? I was like, that's kind of, oh, okay. So it did kind of bother me back then, but at this point I'm so used to it, I didn't even really notice it this season. But yeah, then after you said it, I started watching Green Tribe, and I'm like, wow, yeah, everybody's wearing green. Okay, that's something. The only time this wouldn't line up at all for the clothing would be if it was like a schoolyard pick, right? That only happened very few times, especially for starting tribes doing it that way. Wouldn't that be awesome for 50? If Survivor 50, they were able to just take like 3 players and you guys are going to have to pick your tribes, that'd be awesome. As for my humble trait, I would have to say for me it's motion sickness. Just riding in the backseat of a car for 45 minutes in the middle of the day, oh, I'm wrecked. I have no idea. I'd be so bad at travel. Buses are bad. Boats, I can't even imagine how bad that would be. I guess that's one of my weaknesses, but hey, that's all right. Excited to hear everybody else's input, and have a great rest of your week.
I like the clown comedian thing there, Johnny. That was cool.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That would be rough, though,
and
to be on Survivor
way
with
more
that.
Manipulative.
Yes, to be on Survivor with that problem. You'd show up for every challenge. Every time you went to tribal council, you'd be ill because they do those. Where they are now, they're transported in boats all the time, in little boats.
Oh, I have the same problem as he does. I've never been good at that since I was a child.
Thanks, Johnny. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor super fans. It's Justin from Michigan. I have some really quick feedback this week. I'm kind of sick of the same tribe getting beat up. It's happened quite a few times in this new era with the 3 tribes of 6 format. I wish they would go to a rock draw or captains to divide the tribes. At least then, if the tribes are uneven, it's at least the player's fault. So I'm going to keep pushing for that, even though my voice isn't being heard. Hopefully other people have the same idea who do have some influence. If you're going to have 3 tribes of 6, give the players some choice how those tribes are divided. So that's my 2 cents about that. So with that being said, I don't want green to go if there's not a tribe swap, which I doubt there would be this early. I think I'm going to have Thomas going home this week. And my reasoning is I think Shahin kind of was alarmed by Thomas's suggestion that he just kind of lose Star's clue for the idol. I think that signaled to Shahin, this guy's playing hard. He's gonna get me out if I don't get him. So I think Star's gonna find the idol. She's gonna be safe. If that tribe goes, I know this is a stretch. If that tribe goes, then I can see Joe, Eva, Shahin. I can see them banding together to get Thomas. Now, whether he gets wind of it, that's going to be the wild card because he does have that advantage. If he hears about it, he's going to play that advantage, and that might change things. So even if Thomas is the target, doesn't mean he's going home this week, but that's what I'm going to have for now. I'm excited to see what happens. Unless Green goes to tribal again, then it's going to be Mary or Say probably, and it'll be kind of a boring ending to an episode. But that's what I'm hoping for and looking forward to what everyone else has to say.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, maybe it's that more faces were familiar, but I really enjoyed this episode. The common denominator in Vula's losses was Kevin, so maybe they'll fare better in the future. My other observations. Say has no hard feelings towards Mary. She just wants to spare her further hardship in the game. Kevin had trouble reading the room. He'll have plenty of time to work on that at Ponderosa. Say and Mary lied to each other, but Mary lied to Say, so Mary can't be trusted. I suspect the real cause of David losing 2 of his nipples was a botched stunt. At age 12? The way Say holds grudges, her grip strength probably exceeds Charlie Davis's. Oh, nice reference. Throwback. Kumbaya tribe Siva loves Kyle, warts and all. Oh. Charity had to hire a submarine to measure the depth of her belly button. That was Chrissy. To measure the depth of Chrissy's belly button. It's just plain stupid to sit a semi-pro basketball player in a ball shooting challenge. The catch, though, with that is that Star just took swimming lessons before she went out there.
Well, that's what
Classic survivor sin.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, is that maybe not good at swimming, and she might have told him if she's not good at balance. If she said she wasn't good at swimming or balance, that would be a reason that day. But
that would have made sense.
Otherwise, it would have made no sense.
When they were discussing it, though, they didn't know what the challenge was going to be. So, yeah, I can understand her getting a little...
They give them a moment to talk, and they see it coming in.
I'm referring to when Eva said they could sit Star out, and then Star had the reaction.
Oh, okay.
That was earlier, before they knew. Because we've been talking about that. Several people have mentioned it.
Right.
I agree. It would be stupid to sit her out, but they more than covered it between Eva and Joe. Mitch channeled his inner Rick Barry in the ball shooting challenge. Star brought in 25 members of her tribe to help her solve the vault puzzle. My humble trait is that I can't help making bad dad jokes. Yes, agreed. Certified. Thomas was waiting for Star to talk strategy. Does he wait for artists to have #1 hits before he'll talk to them? Yeah, it was a little off, wasn't it? Vula's gameplay is so rotten that it attracts flies. If I was a recording artist, I'm not sure I'd want Schemy Thomas as my A&R guy, but he totally has got that vibe going.
Vibe, yeah.
There must be something in the well water that infects players with big move-itis. It's called pep talks from Jeff Probst. In Star Trek, Say would be the mirror universe version of Marianne Oketch. Oh, yes, I like that. Probsty 5G is affordable, but its coverage area is limited to Loggy Beach. I love the standardized finger count method of choosing journey participants. Say won the practice round, so she had a clear mandate to go on the journey. No. Although unlikely, it was possible to game who went on the journey, so I'm not a fan of forcing those selected to risk their votes. I was glad to see that Siva's puzzle box used a different word with the same letters.
Yeah, I like that too.
people found their idols that others had to help them unlock. Note to Jeff, underwater swimmers can't hear your running commentary. Hockey player Eva made a nice stick save when she and Joe fumbled the buoy. When Bianca hit Thomas with the pole, I think she was trying to remove his mustache. When Say screamed in the challenge, Mary wished she had already been voted out. Cedric's performance in the challenge was butt ugly. The butt doctor with a butt ugly performance. After challenges, Jeff makes the winners swim with the idols. I hope the idols float. Kevin told Mary to just chill, but he's the one Vula gave the cold shoulder. Say says she can control her emotions, and I have a bridge I can sell you. Jeff channeled Captain Obvious during his interrogation of Vula at Tribal. Say belongs on Star Trek Discovery as an absolute candor warrior nun. Jeff is a therapist, host, minister, producer. Is he trying to break Debbie Warner's jobs record? That's a great comparison. If Mary wanted to pull the site with her no vote, she should have said she didn't play. Next time, Mary leaves babysitter Say in her dust. It's the Dr. Joe Memorial Blindfold Challenge, and Stars Trio could control the votes. Will Thomas cement his Bond villain cred? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joe and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. Here we go, week 2 done and dusted, and overall I thought it was a pretty good episode. I thought it was a good challenge, and we saw a good amount from each tribe. We got to know a little bit more about a few more of the players, and there was some pretty good gameplay. Oh, Say, can you see how she's playing quite aggressively, and she will come after anyone that votes for her or mentions her name or anything like that. She's not going to let anything slide. When she ultimately gets Mary voted out, and she will, whether it's next week or in 6 weeks' time, she will say that it's because Mary voted for her in that first tribal. And she hasn't been able to trust her since. Ultimately, I don't think anyone played bad on the Grand Tribe. Kevin had a good idea to vote out Say, but he underestimated how good the relationship was between Cedric and Say. And voting Kevin out's not a bad idea either, because it's showing that he can't be trusted to stick with his alliance even after one tribal council. And all Mary had to do was just sit there and watch it all happen around her. She's probably still trying to work out what went down. On the Purple Tribe, we got to see a perfect example of how Eva is a bit socially awkward when she left Star out of her list of everyone. And again, we see Joe as all-round Mr. Nice Guy. I bet Joe's the kind of bloke that leads the working bees on a Saturday morning or coaches the local kids' sports team in something or other, and is the first to donate to the old lady down the street because her dog needs an operation. He's just that kind of bloke. The Orange Tribe, I like Mitch. I like Charity. I like their relationship. That's cute. I still like Camilla. I think she's going to be a bit of a dark horse in it all. She'll come from behind at some stage and surprise everybody. And my opinion of David hasn't risen any this week. He's still a bit of a doofus. I did have to giggle ever so slyly at Thomas at the end when they show us what's going to happen next week, and you see him with the black eye, and then you go back and think what happened in the challenge. And when he did get hit, he sort of went, oh no, like he was checking for blood. And Bianca, I think it was Bianca, wasn't it, sort of went, oh no, you're okay, you're right. And Thomas was not right. Next week on Survivor makes us think that the Purple Tribe will be going to Tribal Council, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Grand Tribe again. They've lost the strength of Kevin, and they've just got no morale after 2 pretty tough weeks for them. That'll do me for this week. Thanks, Joanne and Stacey, and happy days, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Jill. Jill included a little explanation. She said she inadvertently used some Australian slang when she was talking about the worker bees, like a sports team that gets together on the weekend to build their equipment shed or something like that. She's saying that Joe would be the guy that organized the group to do some group good.
Got it.
Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Now that's how you pull off a blindside in Survivor. Hello, everybody. It's Jeremiah here with my feedback for this week's episode of Survivor 48. This is going to be a unique feedback for me because I have just watched the episode. I'm getting ready to leave on a 4-day cruise out of Long Beach. So I haven't listened to any of the podcast or heard many thoughts other than a few people on Facebook, but that's about it. So I'm going on this pretty raw without having a lot of time to think about it. But that certainly was entertaining to watch. Anytime you see someone get truly blindsided is very exciting. And I'm saying that after losing a save point from this week. Like I said last week, I do think that Say's aggressive gameplay will catch up to her because it's not the fact that she's just playing hard. The issue is she's made it very well known to everybody else. Eventually that will catch up to her, but luckily for her, she had made a pretty good bond with Cedric to help keep her in the game. Kevin, on the other hand, he fell for the classic blunder that lots of players have, which is being way too confident too early. If at any point in the game you think things are going well for you and it's your controlling the game, you're the one that's in trouble. Yeah, I hated to see him go, but it sure was good TV. I couldn't remember, Stacy, did you wind up going with Kevin for a USB? On Siva, it was a big episode for Mitch, which I really liked seeing all of that. But the player I feel like we should be paying more attention to is probably Kyle. I feel like he's in a good spot, and I do think he could go long in this game. Unlike my winner pick Charity, who's probably going to be the first to go out if that tribe loses. Oh, and on the Mitch subject, yeah, I would not take him to the end. His story is way too good, and that's the reason why I didn't pick him to go very far. Loggy might have had the next most interesting episode for sure. I'm sure a lot will be made about the mistakes that Star made when handling finding the idol, but personally, I found it interesting watching all the reactions from the other players and how they handled the situation when the information came to them. I do think Shahin is probably in the best spot of that tribe, although I'm keeping my close eye on Thomas. Now, I like Thomas a lot because he's also a very aggressive player, but he laid his cards out a little bit too much to Shahin, letting him know how aggressive of a player he is. So it'll be fun to track to see how well things go for Thomas. So yeah, fascinating episode. Of course, I have no idea what's going to happen next week. You would assume that Vula, this green tribe, is going to be going back to tribal council. And obviously Mary will be in trouble, but it's possible they could finally take out Say. So that will be fun to track to see what happens. So I could see either one of those two going home or maybe my USB Charity. As for the Vula tribe, it might come down to whether or not someone else can find the new idol that you would assume would be put back into the game. It even looks like there is a small little teaser of Mary running, possibly looking for an idol. So that should be fun to watch. And now, that's it for me. You all take care until next time. This is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Excellent. Hope you're having a great cruise. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and all I can say is very, very interesting. Our players are coming to their own, and we're getting a much better feel for them, sometimes in surprising ways. Of course, no one was more surprised by the episode than Kevin, who appeared to be completely shell-shocked after the vote was read. I mean, the confusion and the look of disbelief on his face was more than a bit sad to see, especially since he honestly believed that he was in the perfect middle ground position. That Survivor, though, you win some, and the next day you get completely blindsided, right? So along with Kevin having to deal with backlash, I must admit that I'm shocked to see Mitch's position slip considerably. He performed wonderfully at the challenge, but heading off on that boat didn't exactly do him any favors. And when he came back and exclaimed that we have a block of vote, all I could think was, well, you do, because the odds are in better favor of you using it against someone in your own tribe. But they are the strong team, so perhaps he can carry it to the merge with them? Time will tell. Meanwhile, over there on Loggy, Shahin and Thomas are considering if they want to wear a villain hat. Shahin's my USB, and in all honesty, I don't like rooting for a villain, so I was relieved when he said that he just couldn't lie and say that he lost the clue or map or cipher or whatever you want to call it. As a villain, he certainly has the mustache he could twirl while laughing maniacally, but happily for me, he sort of turned down that role. But then there's Thomas, who, if we read the previews correctly, decides that his mustache is twirlable, even if it's not. I can't wait to see how this turns out. But I also wonder, could Shahin have simply told Star that he lost the clue? I mean, would it be allowed? Would that be considered stealing the advantage? How does that affect the no vote if both of them have part of the Beware advantage? It seems sort of like a slippery slope to me. Star loaned him the clue, but kept the other half. I've been mulling this over for a while now, and go to all different kinds of weird places with it. Nonetheless, Star being unable to decipher the clue is an unfortunate but perfect metaphor for how clueless she appears to be in the game. Which brings me to Sai. Again, she's playing far too hard, but she's proved to me that I made the correct choice in not picking Cedric as my USB. His loyalty to Sai will most likely be his downfall, but I think that Cedric will outlast Justin, who reminds me so much of Riff Raff. Sai isn't taking any chances, though. Playing the idol like that sort of wasted it, but she was guaranteed a spot in the next tribal, so what does that say about her trust in Cedric and Justin? Still, I can't fault her for playing it. So, yeah, next to go, I have no doubt that Vula will lose, and it'll be Mary if they aren't thinking, but Sai if the rest of Vula are playing to win. So then, I guess I'm picking Mary to go next because Cedric and Riff Raff will most likely make the easy move rather than the bigger, better move. And I guess that's it for me. Bye now.
Thanks, Paul. I kept hearing that cat in the background when Paul was talking, and while I was working on his audio, I thought it was Zed. I had to get up and check on Zed.
Oh, poor Zed. He had to stay into his crate this morning because there was rain first off.
First there was rain, and then there was a lot of noise.
He doesn't like rain and thunder, and that bad weather back here traumatized at Simpson.
Yeah.
And then we had the
noise.
People. It was noisy, so he feels safer in his crate. But anyway, poor baby. You know, I was thinking when Jeremiah said that it was very unusual for him because he was recording right after the show, I thought, that's what we always do. I mean, immediately.
Yeah.
We don't ever have time to really, think through. We kind of do that on the cuff as we're...
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I've changed my mind by Saturdays.
Oh yeah, definitely. We get stuff wrong all the time, and
well,
that's
I don't
why
know
the listener
that it's wrong. It's just sometimes.
Feedback. That's why the listener feedback shows are so valuable and important to us.
I think sometimes it's just our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking more from your emotions, and then that kind of calms down once you have a little time and you think, oh well. Wait a minute, what if this was why they were doing it? Then you start thinking about it and thinking about other things that might have happened, but perfect for the listener feedback show then, and you get all this other, and then we spend the next few days before the next episode going,
Yeah.
So
I guess Star was really active on social media after that episode. She was not happy with how they treated her. So you
mean by having her sit out, or?
Well, not only that, but how they were scheming against her, and how Joe and Shahin and Thomas and Bianca all worked to actively, potentially keep her from getting the immunity idol.
That's got to be
back.
One of the hardest things is to see it back and see all the things you had no clue about that was going on affecting you or about you.
Yeah, I've thought about that
tough.
at length, that to get on and then find out that people don't see you the way you thought they did, that the perception of you is so dramatically, sometimes shockingly different from how you thought you were moving through life. And it could just be that particular combination of people and how it worked out. But you could get, and I know people do because we've heard them talk about it, and being so thankful for the extra therapy that they get from CBS, because they get kind of messed up in their head after going through this sometimes.
Well, I can certainly understand that. I mean, even just regular life, you have instances of things that come up and you're like, wow, I didn't know this person or that person saw me in that way or this way, or somebody will just make a comment about it. It's like, really? I didn't know they
now you're on the world stage, and if you are
yeah.
someone who's active in social media, you're going to need to disengage, because no matter how you are, there's going to be some people who like you and some who don't, and they all feel entitled to share the full extent of their dislike.
And it has been taken to extremes. There have been survivors who have gotten death threats.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
and had to have extra
say
security.
Who.
And
yeah. But I'm sure some of you can guess some of them that really had to have extra protection. And I think that's just terrible.
Yep.
But anyway,
Mary has been unable to do anything successfully. She survived just because there were other targets that were ahead of her.
Yeah.
So I'm not so hopeful that she's going to find the new advantage/idol and be able to use it. But that would be exciting. It would add a bit of drama. It does seem likely that Vula will end up back there unless someone, we've seen it before, someone in Siva and Lagi decides, oh, you know what, we really want to go to tribal council. We want to get this game started, take care of the business here in the tribe. And those blindfold challenges, they can put you in a position to throw something very easily.
That's
you
true.
can completely wreck your tribe. That's a challenge that's primed for that kind of.
I was thinking I don't believe Joe or Eva would be capable
of throwing
a challenge no matter what. I think the competition is too ingrained in who they are, and I don't believe they could do it.
But Thomas
could do it, no
Bianca,
problem.
no problem.
Yep, no problem.
Get that sense about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all it would take.
Yep.
So
one of them could volunteer to be the caller and then wreck it.
Well, actually, she is the caller. Bianca is the caller.
Oh, do we already know that? I hadn't seen that.
And we knew who was sitting out, but I don't remember who it was now. We'll have to go back and look at the next on.
Mm-hmm.
It might be on there because I'm sure we saw her as a caller, whether it was in one of the photos or next on. We saw Bianca as the caller for that tribe.
So a blindfold challenge. There may be a puzzle that they have to assemble at the end. I wonder if they'll have them keep the blindfolds on through the puzzle assembly, because we've seen them do that before, where the caller has to tell them how to assemble the simple puzzle. Does Vula have the ability with that group of four, with Cedric, Justin, Mary, and Say, could they win a blindfold challenge?
I'm wrong. It was not Bianca. I'm thinking of Camilla. Yeah.
It's okay.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Was one of the dark-haired girls. But then I remembered, no, wait a minute, that was Camilla.
Yeah.
But, okay. Well, I would like to see them shake it up. I think any of the four in Vula could go. I just think that Mary would just be so easy for them to do that they're more likely just to take the path of least resistance.
If they lose,
But it would be so much more fun if they shook it up. If they turned on any one of the other three, and they could.
I think that's probably why Say will insist on being the caller. She'll believe she's the only one that can really give them a chance, assuming Cedric can follow directions.
Well, he hasn't been following her directions, so.
Yeah.
And they all have to play. The others can sit out the people they want,
Right.
but
The other two tribes are sitting two
those
out.
four have to play. So there's no sitting out for them.
And Camilla and Star have to be in this next challenge because they sat out the last one.
Okay.
Any other insights you want to share after hearing the listener feedback? Have you got your vote out choice?
Not yet.
No,
but,
me neither. I'm still thinking.
You know, I really was going to put Cedric, and then I was going to put Say, and then I thought, well, they could do Justin in the building because he came up with the idea, take out Kevin, and that was really clever, and blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, but I do keep fixating on that tribe. As one of them. And then I'll go back to, they probably won't do any of that. I'll just put Mary. But so far I've done nothing but think about it.
Okay.
And I will continue to do that.
Yeah, I got some more thinking to do.
I do, yeah.
Thanks, everybody. I want to thank everyone who took the time to send in your thoughts and predictions this week. Enjoyed that. Gave us lots to ponder. We also want to thank Christy, Erica, and Tara for your donations. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much for helping with our operational costs.
And if you play in JSFL, remember to make your Week 3 picks for one person voted out and 4 people who you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
All right, I'm excited for the next one. I think we're all anticipating it, looking forward to it, and we'll be back with our recap after that.
Have a good one.